everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into one of the most controversial issues in US immigration policy.
That may not have the qualifications they do, but I don't want to stop. And I'm not just talking about engineers, I'm talking about people at all levels. We want competent people coming into our country. And HB1, I know the program very well. I use the program. By doing that, we're expanding businesses, and that takes care of everybody. So I'm sort of on both sides of the argument, but what I really do feel is that we have to let really competent people, great people come into our country, and we do that through the H1 program.
Over the next few minutes, we'll explore why many argue that this system has become dysfunctional, how large companies like Accenture, TCS, Infosys are said to be taking undue advantage of it, and why this situation might be hurting American students, international graduates, and domestic companies alike. We will also compare this system with the most point-based, transparent approaches used by Canada and Australia, examine the Trump administration's tough stance on H1B visa, and finally discuss potential reform that could improve the system. Let's get started. The H1B visa was originally designed to allow US companies to employ foreign workers in specialty occupation that requires technical expertise or a bachelor's degree or even higher. In theory, this program should help fill crucial skill gaps and promote innovation by bringing global talent to the US workforce. And it has. Elon Musk, currently the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, he began his journey as an exchange student and turned into a H1B visa.
The president-elect has backed tech billionaire Elon Musk on the special visa program that would enable highly skilled workers to enter the country. In an exclusive with the New York Post, Trump said that he has always liked the H1B visas and has been in favor of them. Trump's comments come just days after Tesla owner Elon Musk said in a post on his social media platform X that bringing top engineering talent from abroad is essential for America to keep winning.
Sundar Pichai, currently the CEO of Alphabet Inc., meaning Google, he began the US career in H1B visa, which helped launch his career in tech world.
Today it's progressed around 85%, right? And so, but that shows the progress. Similarly for coding, as a software engineer at Google, today when you're programming, the AI is there on the side, it gives you suggestions and you accept it. But we are now working on where you can give it instructions, it'll automatically go and write the program and get it done. And so now imagine the impact of this agentic use cases working horizontally across many, many tasks. I think that's going to be very, very powerful. So the real promise of having an AI assistant in the context of anything you're doing, be it while learning something, a radiologist looking at images, a doctor engaging with the patient, all of that is going to be assisted and it's going to deeply be embedded in your workflows. That is as real as it gets in a 2 to 4 year time frame. And you can imagine the impact from a productivity standpoint. And I think that's one of the most tangible opportunities. I think it's very, very real that will happen.
Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. Like many top executives from India working in US, Nadella's early career in the United States was facilitated by H1B visa program. Arvind Krishna, the CEO of IBM.
I would actually turn around and tell you, I think it showed that the underlying health of the business was extremely good. We grew software at 10%. And consulting was soft. Consulting was flat as opposed to 2, 3, 4% growth, which is what we might have expected.
How talented professionals initially come to the US under the H1B program and eventually lead major companies.
I think that a lighter touch on regulation is going to be extremely beneficial to business, and that means in the end for citizens, employees, and the nation.
Does that include M&A, antitrust regulation? That's where it's been particularly tough in the Biden administration. A lot of people are looking at you.
Santanu Narayan, CEO of Adobe, whose leadership has become central to Adobe transformation and growth.
I think whether you're a small and medium business, whether you're travel, whether you're retail, whether you're hospitality, you want to engage with your customers directly online and you want to transact online, and that is a tailwind that's going to continue for many years.
Jayashree Ulal, as a CEO of Arista Networks, she has been a key figure in a networking technology space and represents the successful pathway provided by a program like H1B visa.
When we were at that zero phase, and it was 2008, we were just coming into a huge recession. So some of the early customers we acquired went bankrupt. Lehman Brothers as an example. So it's a very ominous start to my career at Arista. But as we often say in Arista, we're very united against adversity, and what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
However, over the time, many has come to criticize how the program is implemented. One of the key features of the H1B visa system is a lottery mechanism. Each fiscal year, companies submit applications for available visas, often vastly exceeding the gap. The United States issues 65,000 H1B visa with an additional 20,000 for those with master's degree or higher from US institution. The fiscal year runs from October 1st and September 30. This lottery is intended to be a fair selection process, but it creates a system that rewards companies with the resources to file thousands of applications rather than those truly in need for specialized talent. While this intent was to benefit US innovation, over the years, we've seen unintended consequences that many believe, including me, have led to a system that is not working in the best interest either US workers, international students, freshly graduated American students, and companies themselves. One of the many critiques and dysfunction of H1B visa is it is employer-centric process. The H1B visa is entirely employer-driven. The company applies on behalf of the worker, which often leaves the employee with limited bargaining power once they are already in the country, meaning US. Second thing, lottery over merit. With the lottery system, selection does not necessarily reflect a worker's qualification or company's true needs. Instead, it often favors companies that can submit large numbers of applications. Third, wage suppression. Because employer can often pay H1B worker lower wages than their US counterpart, there is a concern that this creates downward pressure on wages, potentially impacting American workers as well. Fourth, job outsourcing. There is a growing perception that companies use H1B visa to replace higher paid American labor with cheaper foreign talent, especially outsourcing critical functions. These four factors have led to a system that not only failed to protect American workers and companies, but also leave international employees vulnerable to exploitation. Let's talk about some of the largest players in this outsourcing and IT consulting sector. Accenture, Infosys, and Tata Consultancy Services, TCS. These companies are frequently cited by critics as an example of how the H1B program can be exploited. One of the ways high volume applications. Firms like TCS, Infosys, and Accenture file massive numbers of H1B petitions. This high volume means they have better chance of winning the lottery, irrespective of whether this position truly requires specialized skill or if they could be performed by workers with lower wage demand. Number 2 is cost-cutting measures. By hiring H1B workers at lower wage compared to their American counterparts, these companies can significantly reduce their labor cost. This practice undercuts the salary standards and competitive wages that should be maintained in the industry. Another is outsourcing. Often these companies don't use H1B employee for their core tasks, but instead for roles that can be easily outsourced or subcontracted. This further diminishes the quality of a job opportunities available for US citizens and even international students who graduated in the US colleges and universities. While companies argue that they are simply tapping into a global talent and fulfilling real skill shortages, the net effect is that many positions that might otherwise go to American graduates or even more equitably compensated are instead being fulfilled, or equally compensated are instead being replaced through an opaque system that benefits large corporations disproportionately. This dysfunction has far-reaching implications for several groups. Number 1 is American students and workers. American graduates often find themselves in a fierce competition with international applicants who may be willing or forced to accept lower wages. This situation can limit opportunities for US citizens, particularly in technology and engineering sectors. Number 2 is international students. Many international students come to the US for higher education with the hope of eventually even working here. Instead, they may find themselves caught in a system where their future employment is uncertain and where the job available may not match their qualifications and aspirations. Number 3 is American companies. There's also a concern that US companies might become overly reliant on outsourcing talent from the firms that they use for H1B programs. program, potentially leading to a decrease in investment in domestic human capitals. This reliance could undermine innovation and growth in a long run. The overall effect is a system where many stakeholders, both domestic and international, are not reaping the benefit that they were promised, with opportunities becoming skewed in favor of large corporations that have resources to dominate the process. Comparatively, countries like Canada and Australia have adopted different approaches to skilled immigration. Their system is largely based on point and merit, where applications are assessed on various factors such as education, work, experience, language proficiency, and age. This transparency process offers several advantages. Number one is merit-based selection. Unlike the lottery system of the H1B visa, Canada and Australia point system rewards applications for qualifications and skill, ensuring that those who are most likely to succeed in the local economy are selected. Number two is just better and clearer pathways. This system provides a clearer pathway to a permanent residency. Number three, better alignment with labor market needs. By focusing on the skills that are on demand, these countries are more effectively addressing their labor shortages without creating an oversupply of low-wage positions. During the Trump administration, immigration policy was a hot topic, and the H1B program was no exception. This administration took a notably tough stance on H1B visa.
It's interesting to think about who benefits from when Elon pulls in all these H1B visaed employees before he fires them. Where does that go in the economic system?
Bingo. I think that's a critical question to ask. Immigration generally is good, but H1B visa immigration, where you're bringing in skilled workers from abroad, it's not particularly good. In fact, the only people that are benefiting are the big investors, the CEOs, and Wall Street, because it means more profits. It means less investment in American workers. Why invest in American workers and their training and education if you can get the foreign workers? It means less investment by foreign countries in their own workers, because why should they if they're going to simply...
Brain drain.
It's a continuous brain drain. It just means that inequality widens.
One of them was and is increased scrutiny of H1B visa. The Trump administration pushed for a stricter review process for H1B petitions, aiming to ensure that only those who work who truly met the criteria and have high skill criteria were admitted. And the number two is high wage requirement. There was a push to raise the wage threshold for H1B position, a move intended to prevent companies from underpaying foreign workers and talent, and to promote American workers as well. Third is reducing fraud and abuse. The administration emphasized cracking down on fraudulent applications and misuse of the program, targeting practices that allows companies to file large volume of applicants simply to increase their odds in a lottery system. While these policies were intended to reform the system that protects American jobs, some people even argue that some measures may have adversely reduced opportunities for legitimately skilled workers. It's a complex balance between protecting domestic labor and maintaining US as a global leader in innovation.
And in my view, Musk and the other billionaires who are strongly supporting the H-1B program are dead wrong. American workers are there, they're just not looking for them. In my view, the main function of the H-1B program is not to hire the best and the brightest. That's the theory. We've got to bring in the best and the brightest to help our companies function and grow wealth in America. That's the theory. But in truth, the reality of what the H-1B program is to replace good-paying American jobs with hundreds of thousands of lower-paid guest workers from abroad who are often treated as indentured servants.
Another critical issue is the way some companies are accused of exploiting new H-1B employees, and here are the critics. Number one is lower wages. New H-1B employees are often offered salaries that are below industry average, making it difficult for them to negotiate or challenge those conditions due to visa dependency. Number two is limited mobility. Because of their legal status is tied to their employer, those workers may feel companies to accept less than ideal condition or even unfair treatment, knowing that switching employer could jeopardize their visa status. Number 3 is job insecurity. Many H1B workers are hired on short-term contracts through subcontracting agreement, which offers little job security or benefits compared to their permanent position counterparts. These practices not only put H1B employees in a vulnerable position, but it also contributes to a broader imbalance between labor market where cost-saving measures comes at the expense of fair employment practices. So what can be done to improve the H1B process? Some of the suggestions that policymakers and experts have put forward that are very similar to Canada and Australia. Number 1, implement a point-based system. Emulating Canada and Australia's approaches, a merit-based system could help ensure that the most qualified and skilled workers are chosen rather than relying on a random lottery. Number 2 is increasing in wage floors. Establishing a higher minimum salary requirement could help protect American workers and ensure the H1B employees are not undercutting domestic wages. Number 3 is strengthening worker protections. Decoupling visa status from a single employer could give H1B workers more freedom to change jobs if they find themselves in exploitative conditions, thereby reducing a power imbalance as well. Number 4 is transparent oversight. Improved monitoring and enforcing against fraudulent or abuse practices would help ensure that the program serves its intended purpose, fostering innovation and filling genuine skill shortages. Reforming a H1B visa system is no small task. If done right, it could lead to a more balanced, fair, and innovative labor market, benefiting American workers, international talent, international students, American students, and the economy as a whole. To wrap up, we've looked into H1B system originally meant to attract top global talent has evolved into a structure that many believe is exploited by large corporations like Accenture, Infosys, and TCS. We have explored the negative impact on American and international workers, compared it to a more streamlined system in Canada and Australia, and examining the strict measure taken by a Trump administration as well. Finally, we have discussed practical reform that could transform programs into one truly benefits everyone involved. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with these points, or do you have additional insight on how this system could be even more reformed and improved? Drop your comment below, and if you find this video informative, please give a like and subscribe for more in-depth conversation and discussion on policies and economic issues as well. Thanks for watching this video, and see you next time. If you like to watch a video how Elon Musk made his billions of dollars, please click here. And if you want to watch a video how to apply for H1B visa, please click here.